Oh, it's you. Sup, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I feel my next step as a D&D VTuber, I guess I am that, is to start making collaborations with other D&D VTubers. The only thing is, I don't know where to start, honestly. That probably means I need to expand my horizons and do more than just RPG horror stories, and maybe at some point I'll get the opportunity to collab with a D&D VTuber out there. This isn't supposed to be like, a senpai, please notice me or anything. I'm just like, I'm speaking out loud my thoughts basically before we get some RPG horror stories for today. By the way, we should probably start on that right now. I joined a public campaign as a player, but ended up being a DM. Warning, I'm not a native English speaker and I don't speak English on a daily basis, so you can expect a bit too much commas or some other mistakes. This is also technically my first attempt at writing something like that. Anyway, to the story. Our heroes, me, originally playing a rogue, ended up as a GM. DM, experienced DM, rules lord, jerk, also a homophobe apparently. Sorcerer, DM's friend, let's call him Bob or whatever, the Casus Belli. Barbarian, the most experienced player at the table, party's parent. Goblin, our cleric, the bringer of chaos. Ranger Bard, originally played as a ranger but decided to change character. So this story starts from the moment when I got informed that my original D&D party wouldn't attend our usual Saturday game night next 2 weeks due to scheduling changes. Unfortunately, since I lost my job recently, I had too much free time and I wanted to play D&D desperately. So I went to Roll20 and found myself a perfect game. 2 weeks, few planned sessions, experienced master, new players are welcome. Text the DM, made a sheet, talked to other player members, and prepared myself overall. The day comes, I hop on Discord, join the call. Everybody's there, almost on time. DM is ready, we're excited, the game starts. An hour passes, we're having a blast. Campaign is homebrew about an organization of professional thieves set somewhere in Faerun. We do our first heist. The barbarian gets hurt a bit too much. Goblin steps up and say, I spit in my palm, touch barbarian and cast cure wounds. DM laughs and responds with, yeah sure, due to magical properties of your goblin saliva, your healing spell restores 5 extra hit points. We laugh, and suddenly our sorcerer says, yo, I'm badly wounded too, give me that magical saliva right now, you bastard. And then he turns to the DM and says to him, I lean down and kiss the goblin. Goblin immediately goes with it and responds, I kiss him back, passionately. At this point, the whole party laughs, their asses off. However, the DM stays silent, and when we calm down, he says, Bob, what the hell do you think you're doing? Kissing a goblin? No, you're messing with me. What did I say about all the gay bullcrap? It was just a joke. Why'd I have to make a scene? Chill, dude. Just a kiss. What's your problem? Maybe it's just VR chat changing me a little bit, or my friends are just like super comfortable and just super fun. But like, if you don't kiss your homies, are you really homies? Jokes aside, it's really weird for the DM to make a scene. Everybody's having fun, laughing, having a good time. Why start some sort of nonsense over this? DM kicks Sorcerer out from private channel and goes there as well. We just sit in the call in awkward silence and wait. 5 minutes later, we see that Sorcerer was banned by server admin. DM comes back and says, sorry folks, I'm not gonna continue the campaign. Thank this a-hole for that if you want. Anyway, whatever, bye guys. Then immediately disconnects. Yet again, we just sit there in awkward silence. I'm desperate at this point. I want to play D&D and I want to play it now. Wow, started out as a kiss, how did it end up like this? That's a song. Yeah, what an a-hole, huh? Anyway, what do we do? Me gathering as much courage as possible. I have my own homebrew campaign. I can be your DM. You know what? I'm in. Do I have to make a new character? Yo, can I like stay with this character but like different subclass? I have a different sheet. Can I use that? About an hour passes. We make some minor adjustments. I introduce them to the world. Pretty much a sandbox fantasy with some D&D races and custom lore. Plot is not even that relevant. We start playing and I'm feeling pretty confident about myself. Now, I'm not that experienced at D&D in general. I started playing after Baldur's Gate 3 came out and I implemented some of Baldur's Gate 3's rules in my game. That is a valid thing to do, by the way. Perfectly valid thing to do. Baldur's Gate 3 mechanics have been adjusted to make the game more fun in-game, and obviously while it doesn't reflect the rules directly, it's basically like someone else's homebrew campaign just adjusted, except Larian Studios are the DMs and they have a pre-done script, which is nothing wrong with implementing Baldur's Gate 3 rules into your game. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's actually very valid. Also, I don't remember player handbook and master's guide to a letter, so sometimes I just improvise in some situations instead of following an already existing rule. It'll be relevant soon. Despite the fact players seem to enjoy the game so far. We were having a bar fight when suddenly our DM came back. Before we get to the rest of the story, there's nothing wrong with improvising some of the rules. You're not gonna be able to remember everything, and some of the rules can be a little bit difficult to calculate. I'll be honest, jumping mechanics I just don't really fully understand or fully grasp. I just make people roll athletics or acrobatics, and if it makes sense for them to hop up or something, or they use a magical item, or they're a Haragon that has an extra jump to them, then I just roll it how it makes sense to me. Hey guys, what are you doing here? I thought you left an hour ago. Wanted to play, I guess. Oh, great. I just cooled down a bit and thought that I might bring you guys back. So, since Sorcerer left, you're gonna be level 4 now. Please remind me where we left off. You left off when your boyfriend kissed a damn goblin in a role-playing game. We left off your campaign after that. Rogue is already DMing for us right now. Alright, jeez. I get it. I messed up. May I just sit there and listen then? Only if you want boil up if someone kisses again. Pinky promise. So we continue our fight. There's a puddle of beer on the town floor. I describe it as difficult terrain due to the fact that its floor is slippery. Pfft, that's not how it works. Haven't you read the manual? We don't pay attention and continue playing. Goblin is wounded and wants to drink a potion of healing as a bonus action, which is allowed due to my implements from Baldur's Gate 3. Sure, go ahead. You restore 2 more points due to a Disciple of Life feature. That's just ridiculous. You can't drink potions as a bonus action, and Discipline of Life doesn't even work that way. Dude, we get that you know the rules well. Now, can we play our game, please? DM laughs and leaves the call. Just at that moment when I start narrating again, we are getting banned from the server one by one. Admin sends me a message that we've been reported by our DM for violating the server rules. Moral of the story? Public games on homophobia are bad, I guess. Luckily, we managed to gather the party back and end the session properly. We will plan our next session and invited back the sorcerer. I'm not sure what this game is going to get. Also, I don't want to be a DM again, yet here we are. Seems like I've accidentally attuned to a cursed DM table that makes you forever DM. But for me, it's definitely better than no D&D at all. Looking for games can be sometimes hard, especially if you have that D&D craving. You just really crave some roleplay because you love the escapism and you love the system and you just want to play something. But sometimes, in these moments, like the moment right there, you have to step up to the DM plate because nobody else will. I know it sucks sometimes that if you want to be a player, but you basically feel like you need to be a DM in order to have anything run. But sometimes that's how the dice rolls. At some point, the best thing to do is to get somebody in your group, like maybe a group players that want to play together, and convince some of them to be DMs every now and then so you can play as well. Have, people trade off on DM spots, maybe rotate DMs every now and then for different games or one-shots. To give yourself a break as well as make everybody else also practice DMing and stuff, and at some point, it just becomes like a cool thing. Not everybody wants to DM, of course, and that's completely understandable, but if somebody does want to, if your friends want to try it, always encourage them to DM, trust me. Anyway, moral of the story, sometimes if you want to play D&D really badly, you have to be the one to DM and step up to the plate. Also, improving rules and running how you want to, there's nothing wrong with that as long as everybody is having fun and everybody agrees with the rules ahead of time. Alright, let's get to the next story for today. Player won't let disagreements go, plays victim, and tries to hold ethical high ground. So with the background, my old DM that introduced me to D&D reached out to me and we caught up, and he tells me he's running other TTRPGs now over Discord if I wanted to join. It's been a hot minute since I played anything, let alone a player. I joined his Avatar The Last Airbender game. Here's our players. GM, my buddy. Most patient man I've ever talked to, hands down. Busy IRL. Me, playing a weapon expert, not super important, but he plays into things a bit. Firebender, our star of the show, playing a firebender obviously. So the game has been going just fine, no issues at all. In fact, Firebender is a great character and plays well into situations. I have absolutely no complaints about him in the slightest. About halfway through our journey, he pipes up in chat saying he needs someone to talk to. I was the only one there, so I hop into a call. I'll leave out a ton of stuff because it was really personal, and honestly I did feel myself start to like this guy through it, and I wanted to help him vent. But the highlights are important. He's constantly being kicked out of groups due to conflicts. Conflicts arise because he's autistic, likely Asperger's, explained below. He's sad because he really loves TTRPGs. He's a logic first emotions never type of guy. So just for example, he'd say something and without warning or talking to him, people would yell at him, cuss at him, and kick him out, sometimes without a chance to defend himself. Only even telling him that they've said that people have autism and wish they'd die. So while I'm not saying he didn't cause any issues, it's clear it's people who take things personal. And he said he talked to therapists who agreed that most of those he didn't even do anything wrong. And I empathize with him because a couple of my friends have autism, as does my wife. So where does this lead? You know, I actually met a couple of people that had a similar story where they say that, I mean, not necessarily for autism or anything, but being kicked out of different friend groups or discords and stuff, and basically never really finding a place to call their own. At this point, I'm a little bit hesitant when they say these sort of things. If it continuously happens, you're being kicked out from every single friend group or discord or whatever, or what other group have you, and this consistent process of you being kicked out all the time, potentially, maybe, not wanting to point fingers, but maybe the problem in question is the problem. Because maybe they're just not telling you all the context of everything they've done. They're just saying the negative responses of what they received, but maybe it's something they've done that caused them to be removed from the group. I'm not saying this person has done it here specifically, it's just in my personal experience. If it consistently happens with one single person being constantly removed from all kinds of friend groups and discords, maybe it's something they're doing on the sideline they're just leaving the context out of. Last week we ended the session with talks of advancing our character powers and plot. And when Firebender said he wants to go into combustion bending, that was fine. He also wanted to go into chi block and martial arts, which is an odd combo, but okay. And then he wanted to also use the bow, which at this point he starts seemingly overinflating in my opinion. Like, from my perspective, especially as the only non-bender who uses weapons, you want to not only have access to the most powerful long-range bending technique, a close-quarter paralyzing technique, and the bow seemed a bit much. And for what reason? It didn't seem to make sense with who he made his character as so far. Now all that being said, I will never tell another player to not do something. But both me and GM kept trying to tell him that it would be better for him to focus on one of those things and be great at them, rather than be subpar in all of them. Mind you, GM made it crystal clear many times that he could do it and will not be prohibited, but he wanted to explain that it did feel to go against the spirit of the game he wanted to do so many things. He didn't take this very well. The arguments were circular, and lasted for about 2 hours. It was like he couldn't accept that we were okay with him doing it, even if we disagreed. He seemed obsessed with making sure we agreed with him that it was not overpowered, overreaching, or illogical, not realizing that was never what we were trying to say. I explained it like, you're a paladin who wants to go into a subclass that focuses on long-range smite, and now you want to cross-class into a ranger, but also want to cross-class into a monk. It's not that you can, but it's a bit absurd. Puffin Forest reference. Personally, I had no issue with any one thing. Firebending and bow sounds awesome. Firebending and close-quarter martial arts stuff sounds awesome. Combustion bending sounds lethal. But all three just seem like he is diluting his character. Also, if you never looked up the whole absurd from Puffin Forest, please do so. He has made some great videos on some hilarious stories. His absurd stories, fantastic. He did not take any of this at all. Just reiterating that it's not OP overreaching, that's a fact, over and over and over. At some point I told him in GM that I was done with the conversation, that I'm not going to stop him from doing whatever he wants. Later that night, he's in my DMs hitting me with a wall after wall after wall of why he's right and why we are wrong. And that he should be allowed to do these things because of, I could definitely see why this person was removed from a bunch of other servers if they're just constantly spamming wall after wall after wall when it doesn't matter. They want to consistently be proven right and have other people say that, you know what, I am wrong, you're right, do whatever you want. But why? The players just said, hey, maybe just don't like spread yourself too thin and stuff, and this guy's just, it's not overpowered or overreaching or anything, and I'll continue bashing into your head until you agree with me. Why? Why does it matter to you so much? I'm gonna guess that this player is gonna just keep doing this over and over again until he gets removed from yet another TTRPG server. Then we'll complain to somebody else about like, why am I getting removed all the time? Maybe because he's kind of being a little abrasive, a little bit too much, not dropping the argument for some reason and just constantly drilling onto it continuously even though nobody said no, you can't do that. Seriously. I start off telling him I don't really want this conversation, but I humor him a bit, and I try to make it clear that just because I don't like his idea doesn't mean he has to listen to me. That I don't dislike him. His response is to tell me that you guys are misinterpreting me and my character, as in his personal character, not his character in game. Try to tell him that we aren't, and I'm just replying to what he's typing. He says I'm not bothering asking tons of follow-up questions to clarify, and I try to explain to him that that's not a normal thing to do as a neurotypical. That's his responsibility to put out what he wants us to see, and his response is to say that means I am poor of character. I stop the conversation and tell him I'm not okay with him talking to me like that, and if he wants to continue talking to me, he will refrain from insulting me further. You're a hypocrite. Why is this guy escalating things so much? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Play whatever you want to play. He's escalating this for no reason. He's making an elephant out of a molehill and just really wants to die on this weird hill. Maybe it's his autism or something. I'm not fully sure, but this feels completely just unnecessary. Nobody is stopping the guy from playing what he wants to play, so you just can play it. Why does he have to turn this into a big issue like this? I blocked him immediately and vented at my friends because I didn't want to explode on him. I later unblocked him and explained I will not be talking to him for the next week because I need time, but he needs to consider not doing what he did to people. Come today, in fact, we're getting late. GM lost someone and we clear the air, kinda. He still hasn't let it go and is constantly trying to start the conversation again. We tell him, stop, we're done with this argument. We'll never said you can't. We all want to play with you, but we can't if you can't let this go. And I add on that I didn't think negatively about him until he followed me to my DMs and harassed me, but I was willing to forgive and forget. He says he owes no one an apology because he can't control if we get mad at his words, which pisses me off, but I stay quiet to keep the peace. But as soon as we leave the call, he's telling GM I'm a bad person for insinuating he harassed me because Oxford Dictionary describes harassment as, I don't care what the dictionary says, I said twice I don't want to have this conversation, and you add homonym me, that counts, and so forth. And so GM tells him that he is done, kicks him from the group, and will open to debate on bringing him back tomorrow. Not 5 minutes later, he's back in my DMs telling me the GM is a horrible person for kicking him and going back on his word, whatever that means, and I tell him to essentially frick off, that he is the cause of the problem and is the problem. The fact that he can't let any of this go and act normally, that he can't seem to act with any level of empathy for his fellow man, and can't seem to mentally grow enough to take responsibility for when he's in the wrong. The words below are paraphrased, because I missed half his words. He types like 80 words a second and was done with him, and I deleted the chat. Firebender, I'm not wrong, you're the wrong ones here. You realize this mentality is why you'll never find a group to play with, right? No, I can't find games because you're all horrible people and have no ethic or high ground. Okay, sure, whatever you say, lol. Now you're laughing at me. You're a hypocrite, and I'll be honest, I faded and mentally forgot half the crap he said in his argument. You're right, I am, because you lost any right to respect from me. But believe whatever you want. If it makes you feel better about being an unlikable person, fine. Then I blocked him and left to go vent and be pissed off for a bit. I'm now here, typing this as the last remnants of the vent. And now I'm seeing these events as downright funny now. But if you're out there, Firebender, if you see this story, I genuinely hope the best for you. Hope you eventually learn you aren't always right, and not everything is a logical battle. Hope you learn to let things go, and I hope you learn to stop thinking that you aren't at fault for upsetting people with your actions. Because otherwise, life is going to be sad, lonely, and harsh to you. Despite what happens between us, I would never wish that on you. There's some people that choose logic first, emotions never, but this is not logic first, emotions never. This is specifically trying to bludgeon somebody with logic and reason, using logic and reason as a cudgel to get somebody to agree with you, and that is not a great way. That's not a great way to get anybody to agree with you, especially in something that's a non-issue and non-argument like this. But the guy just really wants to turn this into argument for whatever reason, and wants to be right in something where there is no right or wrong. Do whatever you want. It's your character. Do whatever the hell you want to do. Just drop the damn argument for no reason, because it's completely unnecessary. I hope Firebender sees this post at some point somewhere and maybe understands maybe I'm the asshole the whole time. Maybe I should let things go and drop things when I'm not that serious. Fight battles that are worth fighting. Don't start battles that are just over nothing. This is nothing. This is battle started over nothing at all. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.